we go. Today on First Cup, we're going to talk about, well, it's Monday, so there's an episode out. We'll talk about my weekend and the really fun time that I had on Saturday. So stick around. We roll in 10. It's longer than normal. I got my coffee, though. All right. I'm ready. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today is Monday. It's February. What is today? February. That can't be right. Yeah, February 21st, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Clearly, I had no idea what was going on. I don't know. Yeah, the chat is just 21st, 21st, 21st. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And President's Day. Look at everybody chiming in. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for joining. And it's a holiday, which means that Denise is here. How was your weekend? What'd you do? Did you do something fun? I did something fun. I went to New Hampshire, went to Keene, the place that we had free training day. And because Andrew, you all know Andrew had organized an event and he asked me to teach at it. So I taught at it and it was really fun. It was a good group of people. And I did, let's see, those of you who are used to what I teach, you might be familiar with like 5% of what I taught. It was very different because it had to be, because it was different. There was only an hour and it was a different group of people. And I wanted to give them stuff that had some relevance to what they were already doing from the other instructor, past guest of the show, Sensei Eric Johnston, who's a great guy. Had a lot of fun meeting him. In fact, I met 4 past guests of the show. So that was really cool. People that I'd only ever spoken with. Andrew brings a bunch of people on that he knows from his circles, and well, most of them tend to be Southern, at least for me. And let's face it, not everybody gets together like they used to. At least I think we're coming out of that. But I got a chance to meet and shake hands with Jason Hamilton and Eve, if you remember him. Been on the show, and Eric, and who was the 4th? Oh, I was intentionally not gonna name the names. Dayton Cornguth. So all 4 of those gentlemen have been on the show, so it was cool to shake their hands. Good morning, Mark and Nathan and Ray and Dennis and Liz and Stacy and Jenny. Everybody here. Wow, I think everybody here is commenting. Ray's blaming me. Ray says, long weekend gets you. It's okay. Long weekend? Maybe for some of you. I'm still working today. I'm working right now. Denise. I mean, you're in Vermont. Isn't almost everyone south of you? This is very true. This is a very, very solid fact. Yes. I once read something. I don't know how true it is, but I would believe it based on my observation of a map. Something like 90% of the population of Canada is within 100 miles of the border with the US. So like even there, south. Yeah, people. It's funny when I look at Vermont and I think of where I live. To me, this is kind of the middle of the state. But it's not. It's a little more north and center. And when you talk to anyone who lives, I don't know, a few hundred miles south, even southern Vermont is very far north. It's all relative, I guess. Oh. I'm gonna go back to bed. I actually went to bed early. I was tired. All the excitement from the weekend and staying up late and driving home, and it was a good time. It was a really good time. I'm glad we did it. Got more seminars coming now, more inquiries coming in over the weekend. Got a yes from someone that I'll be honest, I'd reached out and said, hey, I like you in your school. Can I come teach? And I didn't expect them to say yes. Not because we don't have a good relationship, but because there are schools that don't bring in outside people. And so I expected this to be one of them, but I wanted to ask because I knew if they said yes, oh, pardon, we could, I don't want to say use it for leverage, but I guess that kind of is what I was hoping for. Hey, well, I'm teaching at so and so's on this date. While I'm up, how about I teach at your school? We can turn it into more. And then there's another one that I'm expecting to become a yes, just a question of when. And then there's the Pacific Northwest tour that Gabe and Jenny are working on. We'll see what happens there. Yesterday, I spent most of my time prepping for going away. I picked out clothes, I laid out things, I rolled shirts into packing cubes and went out to the grocery store and grabbed a few things that I needed. And I went looking for a winter coat. I figured, oh, it's the end of the season. I'll find plenty of stuff on clearance. No, everything that was around was stupid. It was just stupid. It was either stores holding on to what they had at full price, knowing that nobody was going to have anything, or stores with really dumb clothes. My winter coat, the one that I wear all the time. How long have I had that thing? 2010, 2011. It served me very well. It's an old Eddie Bauer coat, but the zipper's just going. I might bring it to the seamstress, see if she can fix it. But I need a new coat. So I will hunt again another day. Stacy says, First Cup, the West Coast edition, coming to a screen near you. Kelly's asking when I leave. I fly out Friday morning, so there will not be a show on Friday morning. I was thinking about pre-recording something, but I've spent some time thinking about this. And when I've pre-recorded an episode and put it up, you guys don't watch it. You appreciate the live dynamic, and I get it. But if I'm going to do that, which frankly, it's not as fun, right? Like to do this without you guys on the other end, it's not as fun. So to do that and to take the time, if it's not going to get received in the same way, I'd rather not. So no show Friday, but I am expecting every other day we will have a show as planned, just based on travel. So, knock on wood. Denise says, I wear my Devil's starter jacket from 1995. I'm on my third zip. I'm on zipper number 3. Oh, that's okay. Wow. Starter jackets. I'm remembering all, let's see. The Celtics. I'm trying to remember who had starter jackets in high school. There were Celtics jackets. I don't remember Red Sox jackets because remember, back in the 90s, the Red Sox hadn't won anything. Not forever. Bulls jackets. Lots of Chicago Bulls jackets. Kelly says, take the time off. It'll be okay. Well, thank you. And Stacy says, no show means I get to sleep into 6. I'm glad I can provide you that extra little bit of sleep. It's Monday. Let's see if the show's up. Plus, they don't play in the winter. Yes. That's a very good point. She's reminding me. It was mainly football and basketball and hockey. Well, and Ray says the 49ers were big in the 90s too. That's true. Growing up, I was a 49ers fan because I had family who lived in San Francisco, so they would send me 49ers stuff. But we didn't have too many people who liked the 49ers. The Celtics weren't very good, so it was kind of like you had permission to like other teams. But something about football and baseball, you weren't really allowed as a New Englander. Now it's interesting being in Vermont that a lot of Vermonters look to New York and some look south. So we get some Yankees and some Giants, but we also have Pats and Red Sox. And honestly, as both the Pats and the Red Sox have gotten better, you see more of that. Let's see if the episode's up yet. I'm looking. Oh, no, I gotta switch this here. Oh, and the Cowboys. Denise is reminding me of the Cowboys. Yes, the Cowboys were a big deal. The Cowboys and the Niners through the 90s. Was never a Cowboys fan. I don't see it. So let's see if it's on the website. You would think we'd have this dialed in by now, but we don't. And that's fine. Nope, I don't see an episode up yet. I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to spoil it. We can talk about it tomorrow. It's Monday. There will be an episode at some point, and you'll listen and you'll love it, and we'll call it good. Take care. Andy, have a good day. Jenny says, my mom was great. She got me a starter jacket for Christmas when they exploded in popularity. It was a Hornets jacket. Oh, I remember when the Charlotte Hornets became a team. I am not into sports like that. I had no clue who the Hornets were. I wanted one because my boyfriend had one. That's funny. I remember when the Hornets came out, like when they launched as an expansion team. And they were good for a second. And he says, I hate the Cowboys, but there were a lot of people wearing their stuff in the 90s, even here in Giants territory. And the Hornets had the coolest colors. She has on. Yeah. So last week's episode, the interview with Frank Dukes, there was a consistent bit of feedback that I really appreciated. And that was, Jeremy, you did a good job of putting out an interview that was not the same old. I would say, unlike most of the guests that we've had on, people have heard Frank Dukes talk. Not all of you, but if you know Frank Dukes, you've probably heard him say some things. You've probably heard him on interviews. And most of those discussions are about the movie Bloodsport and the accuracy of what was portrayed and the controversy surrounding his life before, during, after, etc. And I didn't bring up any of that because it's been discussed. And what's the point, right? That's how I look at it. If you want to hear that story, go hear it over there. I'd rather have a different story. And we had a different story. We had a very different conversation, and I enjoyed it. And a lot of people, even people who admittedly said, I don't like this man. I don't believe what he says, but I really liked this discussion. I liked what he said in this context, and I learned something, et cetera, et cetera. And that meant a lot to me. And I'll foreshadow a little bit. There are conversations happening right now, completely outside of the martial arts, with an organization headed by, or I should say organized by a friend of mine. And it is going to be incredibly socially sensitive, not politically sensitive, but socially sensitive. And he wants a podcast. And he reached out. He said, what do you think? And we talked about it. We've had several hour-plus conversations on it. And I've said yes. And it is only because of the work I've been able to do with Martial Arts Radio that I am prepared to step into something that is going to be a big deal with this. I am probably not going to I may talk about it a little bit in the context of First Cup because I talk about my life on First Cup, but we are not going to air these episodes on the Martial Arts Radio feed. In fact, we're not going to do any promotion from Whistlekick to this new thing when it happens, because it has nothing to do with martial arts. But if you pay attention to what I put up personally, when it happens, you will see. And this could be a really big deal. And I'm excited for it because I'm ready. Dennis, thank you, Dennis. Dennis says, you did an amazing job on the Frank Dukes interview. Really done well and focused and enjoyable listen. Thank you. And Dennis and I had our friend anniversary yesterday, which was pretty cool. And I was trying to think what happened that weekend that we became Facebook friends. I don't know. February. What happened in February that we became friends? Was it just a random, hey, we know too many people in common? Or did we go somewhere and meet? I don't know. Maybe you remember. All right. Let's see what you all gave me for feedback. Actually, I know none of you left me anything except for Frank. I appreciate Frank tremendously because he makes sure I always have something great to talk about. Pour more coffee. Oh, so what am I doing today? Today I have all of my calls with my clients where I tell them, hey, we're not having a call next week. My plan for vacation, I'm going to put up a vacation autoresponder on my email. Not a thing I've done in a long time, and I'm nervous. I'll do what has to be done work-wise while I'm gone, which isn't much. But in terms of committing to fixed times for meetings, I'm not doing that. And so far, everybody I've told has been fine with it, and they should be fine. And if they're not fine, well, which means the only fixed time thing I will have will be this. I don't even know if I change time zones. Hey, Belize. Hey, Google, what time is it in Belize City? There we go.
The time in Belize City is 5:47 a.m.
All right. So I'm getting up an hour earlier to do the show. Let's do it. It's an hour early. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll let you guys get up an hour late. Who knows? Island time. We'll figure it out then. Kelly says, it was a good interview with someone who knew nothing about Frank Dukes. I learned a lot without the controversial stuff, which can cloud judgment. Yes. And those of you who are in the Martial Arts Radio behind the scenes group, you saw me post a question. Do you consider martial arts radio journalism? And this was why. Because in my opinion, a journalist will dig to get to aspects of the story. The very way that they present the story introduces bias, right? Do we even tell this story? That's bias, subjectivity. When I ask follow-up questions, that is bias. My interview style is very simple. A guest talks, they say a bunch of things, they come to a logical pause. I think about all the things that they just said. I ask a follow-up on one of them, usually skewed towards what they said last. But there's bias in that. I could switch gears. And so I try, to me, that is facilitating. I'm trying to remove myself from it as much as possible. And to me, that makes it less journalistic. But I recognize that there's still an element of subjectivity in there. Just trying to be as hands-off as I can. Nathan says, today is Rising Storm, his school's birthday. That's awesome. How many years has it been? Dennis says, I can't believe it's only 4 years. It might have been one of Superfoot's seminars with Paul, maybe. That's actually a good point. It might have been. We would have seen each other next at John Graham's seminar in Maine the following May. I do remember that, but I knew it wasn't then because I remember, did I bring you a sweatshirt or did you wear a sweatshirt? I remember there was a sweatshirt. You had a Whistlekick hoodie on. And I remember thinking, wow, this guy is so supportive and he barely knows me. And it really meant a lot. It's also the same seminar he met his wife. I was there the day he met his wife. How cool is that? Jetty says, one of your Monday meeting people already took care of one of your meetings when we talked last week because she was on the ball that morning. Awesome. Yay. Ray says, so the question that I have now is how do we know that the martial arts style that we are studying is the best for self-defense? Freestyle, we take in every instructor we go to claims that they have the style, but without testing it in the field, either by being attacked by a bad guy or attacking random strangers, both of which are bad ideas. How do you know what we're doing? It's really effective in real world situations. Ray, can you do me a favor and post that in Facebook when I put things up for tomorrow? Because that's a longer conversation and I would like to get started on that sooner in the episode. It is a wonderful question. It is one that I have thought about a bunch of late as well. Stacy says, sunrise in Belize. If I get my way, because I have spent extra, I think in every place I'm staying to have an ocean view. Ocean in Belize means east, right? So sunrise. So knock on wood, we should be able to watch the sun come up while we do the show. I'm super pumped, you guys. I really am. I need this. I'm very thankful for this. Yep. Dennis says, we were both wearing Whistlekick hoodies, of course. Fun fact, the one thing I didn't have with me, because it was cold as icicles in the gym this past weekend, and I didn't have a Whistlekick hoodie. Oh, it was crazy. In fact, it was so cold in there that I may have taught not just wearing it. I may have taught wearing a hoodie over my gi. Seriously, it was cold in there. It wasn't too cold, but it was cold, right? Like the toes that I've had a little bit of frostbite, like they were letting me know, like, hey, it's kind of cold. So I just moved, like I was constantly moving back and forth. Kelly says, Dennis is super supportive. You have no idea. The amount of support that Dennis provides is even deeper. It's kind of, the visual of an iceberg, you see like a third of it. Yeah. Dennis says, speaking of my wife, we spent the last 3 days at the location of Rhode Island Comic-Con a few months late, but represented wearing Whistlekick hoodies every day. We ran into a Star Wars fan who loved Sarah's Star Wars hoodie. That's awesome. Thank you. The picture that Dennis put up, I saw that he was wearing a Whistlekick hoodie, and just from the tiny corner of the graphic on Sarah's hoodie, I was like, oh, she's got a Star Wars hoodie on it. And then I read the caption. And I knew that because I knew that she wanted one. I remember Dennis saying that. All right. So Frank gave us something, and I want to talk about this because he found a really cool intersection between today and this month. It's Black History Month. It's President's Day. So we have 3 quotes from none other than Barack Obama. And one of the things I really appreciate about Frank is, let me read this. I want to read it. Come on back. Today is President's Day, and it's Black History Month. So here are some quotes from our first Black president, Barack Obama. As a side note, I have tried to pick quotes that I thought were not of a political nature in order to be congruent with Whistlekick's values, which, thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. Here we are. Each of us deserves the freedom to pursue our own version of, I almost had our own version of happiness. No one deserves to be bullied. Let me say it again without interrupting it with an attempt at killing a bug. Each of us deserves the freedom to pursue our own version of happiness. No one deserves to be bullied. And this is where, and it's unfortunate that the term, people think of the term strictly in a political sense and in a modern implementation of that political sense. I am philosophically a libertarian in the way that this quote says it. You get to do, I think you should be able to do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't harm others. Okay? Now, of course, there's discussion about what harm is, but in this case, no one deserves to be bullied. Yeah. You have the right to train whatever you want to train. Andrew and I did an episode on this. What we originally were kicking around is the First Amendment of martial arts. You have the right to train whatever you want to train. No one has the right to tell you that what you are training should not be trained, cannot be trained, etc. I fundamentally disagree with that. Right? I like this quote. This is good stuff. The freedom to pursue our own version of happiness. Happiness means different things to different people. Martial arts means different things to different people. This past weekend, I watched a bunch of people that I did not meet before. I had not met before, training in things I've never trained before. Well, more or less. Operating in very different ways and just trying to imagine telling them, no, you can't do that. No, that's wrong. That's bad. You're wrong. Don't do it this way. I also, she doesn't watch this, but so I've hinted at the fact that I'm opening a school, right? We're scouting locations right now. And by we, there's a person that I've connected with. Her name is Corey. I've known Corey for years in the context of martial arts. Corey trained Taekwondo for a number of years, and something told me she was the right person. Corey showed up this weekend at the event. Super cool. So I partnered up with her because I was like, oh, we should get to know each other better because I don't know her very well. I know her through martial arts, and she seems like a solid person. She killed it, especially having not trained for almost 2 years. And it just reinforced my gut feeling that, you know what, this is the right person. She's doing stuff she'd never done before, and she was doing it exceptionally well. So, yay. And I saw her at the grocery store last night, and I told her the same thing. And now the chat is, Kelly says, you need chopsticks to get your bugs. If I can't even get them with hands, you guys, how am I going to do it with chopsticks? I did have sushi yesterday for lunch. It's really good. Next. Someone once said that every man is trying to live up to his father's expectations or make up for their father's mistakes. And we can certainly broaden that. Father, parent, family, history. And I think we can apply that just as well to martial arts. In a lot of martial arts contexts where people will go very, very strong to defend the curriculum. Oh, well, you don't need to learn that because you've got this. It's right, like that whole thing. There's a discussion in karate about karate, for example, that karate doesn't involve ground techniques or throws or grappling or whatever. And there are some people who say, well, look at this movement in this form. It's definitely this. And people on the outside, yeah, but even if it's kind of there buried, if nobody teaches it, does it really exist? And they go back and forth. And this is part of why I say I don't, I was thinking about this Friday night as I was falling asleep. I teach and train martial arts with a karate accent. I think that's the best way to think about it. I have a karate accent. If you've watched me move, you can see it. Just as I could learn, I know some Spanish. Actually, my accent on Spanish is pretty good because I started learning Spanish when I was young. Most people who speak another language have an accent. I have a karate accent because I didn't learn anything else beyond karate, really, until I was in my 20s. Martial arts with a karate accent. Have faith, grasshopper. You guys are a riot. Dennis says, a man who catch fly with chopstick accomplish anything. Mr. Miyagi, I did it. You beginner luck. Such a great scene. I think there are very few movie characters that we all gravitated to more than Mr. Miyagi. We all wanted a Mr. Miyagi in our lives. But I don't think we have to defend, coming back to the quote, I don't think we have to defend what we train if we connect the first and the second quote. Just because there's a quote unquote mistake in there, just because there are silly movements, just because certain people who identify as training that martial art have done things that you may not like or others may not agree with, doesn't mean you have to defend the art. It's an art. Just because someone who, here's a great counterpoint. If a painter goes off and does something nuts and harms a bunch of people, do you have to defend painting as a pursuit or a profession? No, nobody would ever ask you to do that. But somehow, stylistically, we have been taught that we are responsible for what prior generations did. We're not. We don't have to be. We shouldn't be. So don't be. Stacy says, Mr. Miyagi and Yoda. You're right. And Yoda. I wonder, would Yoda have been as big of a deal if he wasn't a little green Chihuahua troll? Look at a Chihuahua head on. Tell me you don't see Yoda. It's there. If Yoda had been human, would we have cared as much? I don't think so. Jenny says, Stacy, my driver's license says I'm 5 feet tall. Yoda is such an inspiration to me. That's funny. Denise says no. Yeah, I think part of it is that the presentation came from an unexpected source. Oh, I can see the fly just out of reach. Stupid little fruit flies. I got it. Focusing your life solely on making a buck shows a poverty of ambition. It asks too little of yourself, and it will leave you unfulfilled. One of the things that I've found that I advise clients, etc., if your goals are to make money, you're going to miss out on things that will be fulfilling and beneficial to the world, etc. And the irony is, you will make less money. If you focus on doing something great and enjoying it and changing the world and giving of yourself to others and your own talents and skills, the money will happen. The money will be there. And I can certainly point to my own life in that way, but I can point to plenty of others. Somehow the money is always there, and the better they get at doing things that others value, the more the money comes. You can certainly chart, our apparel sales and everything else as we've gotten better and provided more value. I like this. Denise says, part of what makes Yoda Yoda is that he looks nothing like a Jedi Master or what we think a Jedi Master should look like. Kelly says, I'm also 5 feet. And Jenny says, many martial arts women with great minds unite. You're all too funny. I love it. Good times today. Crazy people. Crazy people get up and have coffee with me. I appreciate you all. All right. I think it's time. It's time. I have one thing that I really have to do today, and that's to make sure that I go into tomorrow with as little email as possible because I have 4 interviews. Andrew's coming up, and then I have 2 interviews. So I've got a whole day of recording. So I've got to make sure that I go into tomorrow with as little email as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a busy, busy Wednesday. And as far as I'm concerned, Wednesday's the start of my vacation. I'm not doing very much. Okay. Let's see if that episode is there. I want to be sure. I'm hoping it's there. No, I don't see it yet. We'll figure it out. It'll go up. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Be well. All that good stuff. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.